What we're going to do tonight is learn about RedLadder Trading. The first part of tonight is going to be about Joel Ackerman talking about how to use this amazing tool. Now, he would know because he has spent the majority of his career in IT. He has had hands in both for-profit and nonprofit. He was the director of Caring Bridge for 6 years. He was at Health Partners. He's built companies left and right. The guy knows what he's doing. He's innovative. What we're going to do is look at a video to give you an overview and then introduce Joel. He will tell you what's about with the RedLadder Trading and of course why you'd want to use it. So let's take a look at this next one here. It's sustainable, it's free, it's RedLadder Trading with.
In today's challenging world, charitable organizations are the heartbeat of communities. But with traditional sources of funding diminishing, they need support now more than ever. With reduced funds, their impact is stifled. But what if there was a way to change that? Introducing RedLadder, a revolutionary platform transforming how we support our favorite causes. At the heart of RedLadder lies the principle, my unwanted item is someone's treasure. RedLadder's groundbreaking online platform enables people to trade goods they no longer need for items they really want. And through this simple, safe process, organizations receive critically needed funding. Here's how RedLadder works. An individual or organization starts a trade ladder by donating a simple item. Others can trade a higher valued item for it, and this happens again and again, building a ladder of increasing value. When the item at the top of the ladder is converted into cash, the major share of the proceeds goes directly to the ladder's designated charitable organization. Supporting charitable organizations through RedLadder puts items in the hands of people who need them, generates crucial funding for charitable organizations to fulfill their missions, and keeps usable items out of landfills. Join us on this revolutionary journey, making the world better one trade at a time. Take the first step. Visit rladder.org to create your free account and start trading today. Together, we will build a brighter future, one trade at a time.
I doubt you've ever met someone quite as famous as Joel Ackerman. Help me welcome Joel Ackerman to the stage, please.
Thank you, thank
Way
you.
to go.
Thank you. Wow, that's quite an intro. I'll try and live up to it a little bit. Thank you for having me here tonight, and very, very pleased to be here. So we're going to talk about RedLadder, and I'll keep it fairly short. RedLadder at its core, as you saw, is a trading platform. You can trade things you no longer need or want for things you do want, and each trade will add value to a sequence that ultimately cashes out when it gets to a high value item, and then that provides unrestricted funds to a designated organization. So let me show you a little bit more, and that overview helped a little bit. I'm sure this will help explain beyond that, though. Is it okay? So let me show you a little bit more about RedLadder, and you'll understand how it works and how you can participate. Everybody can participate to create funding for charitable organizations. All of us know that the funding for charitable organizations is shrinking, and there's these traditional sources, but some of them are drying up, and some of them are just getting tougher, and you're having to compete to get funding. So it's a zero-sum game, and if you get funding, that means some other organization doesn't get funding. That's the way traditional funding works. RedLadder is designed to, it's not a panacea, but it can overcome some of that and help reduce the shrinking pie so that all organizations can accomplish their missions better. So let me show you a real example, okay? In the RedLadder model, an individual or an organization can start a trade sequence. Somebody donates the first item, which is the only donation in our process. And in this case, it was a decorative plate somebody inherited from their mother. They really didn't want it. So they donated that to RedLadder and said, I want to start a sequence to benefit Caring Bridge, a wonderful organization. And so whoever starts the sequence gets to designate who the beneficiary organization is. Well, that showed up then on our marketplace. Somebody saw it, they were downsizing, they needed to get rid of a potting table, but they wanted the plate. The potting table was worth more than the plate, but it had almost zero value to the person that was getting rid of it. They didn't want to go to the effort of selling it. So they traded the potting table, they got the Christmas plate, no cash involved. Then the potting table became the item people saw on this trade sequence on our marketplace, and someone traded some signed pottery that was worth more than the potting table. They got the potting table, gave up the pottery. And then somebody traded a used sewing machine to get the pottery because they inherited the sewing machine, they already had one, they didn't need a second one. Someone traded a foosball table for the sewing machine, and then some art glass, and then it became a cello, and finally it became a French horn. Now all of these are trades, not person to person, but through RedLadder, so it's safe and it's easy. We've made it really simple. At that point, our software, our analysis, and our trade master decided, let's cash out this sequence so we can get a check to Caring Bridge. So we sold the French horn and delivered a check for $1,375 to Caring Bridge. And as you heard, Caring Bridge did not really have to do anything in this process. They can help promote the process, and they have currently 22 other trade sequences in process. Okay, each one will ultimately result in a check. That's the way RedLadder works. Anybody can start a trade sequence, anybody can trade to increase the value, and ultimately it results in a check to the designated organization selected by the first person. So the whole point is that what I don't need or want, somebody else can use or will want. And I want to get it to somebody that can use it, okay? But again, I might choose not to go through a marketplace to try and sell it. I don't want the hassle, I don't want the risk. So, as I mentioned, it starts with a donated item. That's the only donation in the process, the first item. And then it grows through trades, subsequent trades. And ultimately, it becomes an unrestricted contribution of funds to the designated organization. Okay, so how do you get started with this? Well, anybody, I should say any adult, because we don't allow kids to trade away their dad's car for a skateboard. Okay, that would not be a good idea. But you can create a free, personal, private account on RedLadder, okay? And then you add to your account items that you have at home that you no longer need or want, new or used, but in good condition, clean, and items of the categories that we can accept. And then RedLadder assesses the value of each and lets you know, here's the assessed value. And then those are active in your account, so you can use any of those items in your account to start a new trade sequence for your favorite charitable organization. Maybe it's cancer research, maybe it's your church, or whatever charitable organization, maybe it's veterans, okay? You can select if you're starting the ladder, a new ladder. Or items you can use to trade to get other items. Maybe I want something that I see on the RedLadder marketplace, I trade something I have that I don't want in order to get that. Or maybe I want to trade something that I see to get for my grandchild. Okay, it's a way I can get some gifts to give to other people too. Okay, let's switch to a demo, and I'll show you a little bit more about how it works. This is the RedLadder website, and it's rladder.org, letter R, word ladder.org. RedLadder is a nonprofit program of the Cases Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And when you come here, you can learn more about RedLadder. There's information. You can contact us with questions. But the key thing I want to show you now is that I want to, there it is, I want to enter RedLadder. It's a web-based app. You don't have to download or install anything. You access it through your browser. So I click on Enter the RedLadder app. And there we go. And it gives you a welcome message. And so I click Continue. It asks me, do I already have an account I want to log into? Do I want to log in as a guest? So you don't even have to create an account if you just want to look around, get a feel for it. Or do I want to create an account? And creating an account is very simple, okay, very minimal information, and it's very safe. We're not looking to sell your information or do anything inappropriate with it. It's just the bare amount of information we need. In my case, I will log into my account, and then I'll click log in. Okay, when you first, and let me get rid of that. When you first log into RedLadder, I'll shrink this a little bit. It looks a lot like other marketplaces you may have been to. Okay, you can browse to see what's there that you can get. You can search. You can use keywords, either the name of an organization or the category of items, maybe baby gear that you want to look for, or even a brand name if you want. Okay, the search capabilities are there. So I can look through, I can go page by page and browse, or I can search, okay? And let's say as I'm going through and looking at this, you can see there are items that you can get. Each one tells you what organization will benefit, what trade ladder it's on, okay? So if you acquire one of these items through a trade, you're helping that designated organization. It may or may not be an organization you care about, but it's a charitable organization, so you're doing good. Okay. And as I'm going through this, let's say I see this kid's microscope, my first microscope, okay? And that I can, just from the brief information here, I can tell that this will benefit the Children's Theater Company. And it is new, it's unopened, and it's in original packaging. So there are new items, there are used items, okay? And let me show you on this example here, I brought in some of the items that are available on RedLadder today to benefit different organizations. These are on existing trade ladders. And let me take these off. I'll take the pizza cooker off for now, the Coach purse, this Disney princess blanket, and this headset. Okay, so what we have, and what's illustrated up there, is that we have my first microscope, which is this item down here, and I can click on it for more information. And that is the first item on this ladder that has been created for the benefit of Children's Theater Company. Okay, so when I clicked on it, it gives me additional pictures. So I can click on these and expand them. I can browse through them, and it gives me more information that it's unopened, it's in original packaging, gives a description, and it tells me that if I want to acquire this item, then from my personal private inventory, I need to trade an item that I have that is worth at least 20 RedLadder trade units, okay? And so we're not dealing in dollars. Each item will be assigned a trade unit value. So, okay, it's not very much. So now if I decide I want that, maybe I want to trade, for example, something I have that I'm not using, and I want to give this to my grandchild. Great. I go over here on the right side, and it says, if you want this item, select a qualifying item to trade. So I can click the down arrow, and it tells me the items in my private personal account, still sitting at my house, that qualify because they're worth more than 20 trade units. And I can, for example, trade one of these serving platters that are worth about 22 trade units. Or, you know what, this bucket fan, it's a fan, you put it on a bucket, and it cools the air with water from the bucket. It's worth 50 trade units. Because that's more than the 20 of this, I can trade that to get the microscope. That Arctic Cove fan has been sitting open but unused, never used, in my garage for about 4 years, gathering dust. Okay, so its personal value, even though it might have a market value of about roughly $50, the personal value is 0. And if I can trade that to get something for my grandchild, I'd be happy, my grandchild's happy, my daughter's happy, everybody's happy, and it raises the value of that ladder. So I'm going to trade that. I'm going to take this, put it on the Children's Theater Company ladder through the system, okay? And I will get my first microscope. So let me show you how I do that. I select the item I want to trade. And it tells me, okay, your trade is going to increase the value of this ladder for Children's Theater Company by 194%. I'm getting rid of something I don't care about. I'm helping grow this 194% with one trade. And then it says, okay, how do you want to handle getting the fan to RedLadder's depot? And how do you want to get the toy from the depot? So there are choices, and I won't go through it in detail, but essentially I can select that I'm going to drop off at one of our drop-off locations and pick up also at a drop-off location. I can arrange shipping if I prefer that. So now it knows what I'm trading, what I will be getting, and how the logistics will work. And so the next thing it says, okay, you have to confirm that this is what you want to do. You're giving up something you own to get the toy, and that's how you want it handled. I'm not going to confirm this, okay, but that's how it works. So you take care of the logistics, and then I'm going to cancel this. Let's go. Oops, down here. I'm going to close without trading. I'm not going to execute that. Okay. So that's how it works. Let's say I had instead put this, well, earlier I had to put it into my account to begin with. It's like putting money into your bank account so you can spend it later. So let's say instead of trading that fan, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to not trade for an item, but I want to create a new ladder to benefit my favorite charitable organization. Okay, so what I would do is, and I won't go through how to do it, but you add, as I said, you add items to your account, and then they get approved. You add pictures and descriptions of the items. It's real simple with drop-down menus. And once it's active in your account like this, then you can create a trade ladder, a new one. And so this is just saying, okay, you're about to create a trade ladder for an organization you care about. You're really a great person. Okay, continue on. And I do that. I select continue to create a ladder. And there we go. So it brings me up this simple screen that lets me create a new trade ladder. And so it asks, what organization do you want it to benefit? And there are lots of organizations already defined in our system, and you can browse through that. And let's say I want this to benefit the Alzheimer's Association. Okay? If I don't see the organization I care about and it's a charitable organization, I could instead go over here and click Add an Organization, and then you just let us know the organization. We'll research and approve them, and then they'll show up in the list for everybody to see. It could be your church, it could be a youth group, it could be the band at your local high school. Okay, but in this case, I'm going to select the Alzheimer's Association. And they might have multiple campaigns going. I could name a campaign that I want, or I can just leave it as going to their general fund. And then the item that I'm going to use to start this ladder, it shows the items that are approved in my account, and I can select, in this case, I want to give up this bucket fan, the misting fan. Okay, so I select which item, and it says, okay, within 5 days I'll bring it to the RedLadder depot, or I can send it. Okay, I can ship it to them. And then I would just click, I agree to complete this. And then I just have to follow through on delivering this to the depot or getting it to it. Again, I'm going to cancel this, but that's what's involved in getting an item into your private account on RedLadder, to getting doing a trade or starting a ladder. Once items are in your account, you can choose to either start ladders with them or trade them. So let's see. Let's go back to the PowerPoint slides. There's more to RedLadder, but that's the basics. But that's the introduction to RedLadder. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And we're exciting. We currently have, it's about 570 active trade ladders that are set up and will benefit about 130 organizations. So that's already in process. This is growing rapidly. And again, anybody, anywhere in the country can start as many trade ladders as they want, and they can trade as much as they want on RedLadder, and each trade will add value, add benefit for a charitable organization. Okay, so that's RedLadder. Again, thank you. What I'd like to do is reintroduce Lily. I'll mention I've been in information technology and business for literally half a century. And something that I did not fully realize until very recently is the significance of what Lily is going to be talking about. So I could have been a lot more successful if I had known what she's going to be talking about. So Lily has also been very helpful in educating me about how to take advantage of the tools that she's going to be talking about. And it helps. It's great. Lily, thank you.
And yes, questions come at the end. I'm glad you reminded us.
Okay.
Phone doesn't hear you. Anybody daring enough?
I had a question. How is the value of each item determined?
How is the value of the ladder determined?
Each item.
Each item determined.
Well,
Thank you, Audrey.
we've developed some proprietary software that uses AI to help us identify the item and the value and the condition, and that generates a recommendation to our trade master, a real human person, who reviews it and either agrees with it or can override it or adjust it. So when you add your description and photos, you can put in up to 8 photos of the item. That then gets processed by our software and reviewed by the person, and within a day or two, you'll receive an email saying your item is acceptable for RedLadder, or it's not, and why, and here's the assigned value. And if you think that's not an appropriate value, you can let us know once. We'll revisit it, explain why you think that's inappropriate. But that's how it gets assigned, and then that's active in your account. The reasons that items might not be acceptable, we're not taking any animals, live or dead. There's no explosives or firearms. So those are the kinds of things. We're currently not able to take large furniture. Okay, so there's a list that's in our website that you can see the kinds of things that are acceptable and not. But that's how the values are assigned.
And if someone wants to buy that guitar with a monetary value versus trade an item, can they do that too?
Not in the current release, okay? So we launched this a little over a year ago, and we have a lot of features we want to add to it, and one of them is a buy now kind of option. Once a ladder has grown, and now maybe there's a buy now option on the items, so it could either trade and increase the value of the ladder, or people could just buy it at that point. But it's not there yet. Yeah. Good questions, thank you.
I have one more. If anyone else has them. I'm just thinking, how does the contributions go to the organization?
How does the contribution go to the organization?
We either write a check and deliver it or mail it to them. But when we cash out a ladder, our model is that 55% of the cash that we get, minus any direct expenses on that ladder like shipping or anything like that, 55%, which is more than half of what we receive, goes directly to the organization. And 45% is retained by the nonprofit, RedLadder Trading, to grow the program, expand it, add the new features. And I'll mention that I had the great pleasure of delivering that check for $1,375 to the executive director, the president of Caring Bridge, at one of their staff meetings. She was up on a red ladder, and I handed her a large check, and that was a lot of fun. Okay, so we will delight in delivering lots of money to lots of organizations, and we'll get it to them as quickly as we can.
So you got the idea that get yourself representation in the groups, get yourself a red ladder, and make yourselves more successful with nonprofit need finding or need filling and fundraising.